Welcome to another episode of Uniquely Called. I'm your host, Bradley Martin, self-mastery strategist, author, and world traveler. Uh, this podcast is all about real, unfiltered story of those who dared to challenge status quo and follow their God-given purpose. Today, I'm here with Kiru, and his story is very empowering and impactful, and I think it's going to challenge a lot of you guys to step out of your comfort zone and follow your God-given person. So, Kiru, man, please introduce yourself. Tell us your name, where you're from, and what do you currently do?
Okay, so my name is Daniel. Most of my friends call me Kiru. I live in China now, but I'm from Ghana, and I'm into PE, physical education, in the first and foremost. And then secondly, I have a travel brand which represents freedom. So it's more like a lifestyle, but anything that I put on my brand represents freedom, basically.
Nice. Okay, so you're from Ghana, and how long have you been in China?
I've been in China since 2016, so do the math. We're now in 2025.
Yeah,
That's like let's say 9 years now.
9 years.
9 years, yeah, in August.
Okay, and you in Ghana. What brought you to China? Like, what made you come to China, and why China out of all places?
So I need to back it up a little bit.
Mhm.
Growing up in Ghana, it's more like, especially if you are in a middle income household, not really like a high income where your parents are rich and stuff.
Yeah.
The idea of every young person is to leave, leave the country, go make a better life somewhere. So I learned this earlier because my group of friends, some of my mentors that I was with, they left Ghana way early.
Mhm.
And one of the things that we mostly did, especially since like there wasn't enough money at home, was through education.
Okay.
So like I remember we were like a group of four friends. The older one, he came to China earlier. He came to China to do his masters, did his PhD, but he's back in Ghana now. Then the second oldest person also went to the States to do his masters.
Mhm.
So for me, going to the university straight, I knew like, okay, I need to do well. I need to get a first class. I need to, like, it was all premeditated, planned that I need to get this because this is my ticket out of here.
Okay.
So in the university, I did enjoy myself, but I also tried as much as possible to make sure that I fall in the first class category. And then I used that to apply for scholarships. So applying for scholarship because first of all, my older friend was here, who is also one of my mentors, was here. I tried to apply for the same school, and he helped me a lot in applying for China. I also applied for some schools in the UK, in the US. So when the scholarships came, I had to look at my financial status, and the scholarship that I got from China was like a partial scholarship, but then I wouldn't have to pay for tuition. I just had like tuition accommodation free,
Mhm.
and I would just have to fend for myself. So
Okay.
this was the scholarship that I got. The one that I got for UK, I had to pay £7,000. So I just weighed over all of it, and then the long and short of it was, okay, China made much more sense at
Yeah.
that time, and I knew somebody here, so I sort of like took on this offer. That's
Okay.
how I came here to do my master's in management science and engineering. Yeah.
Yeah. So what you're saying is basically it's common for other people from Ghana to like leave. Is this a common thing for you to leave
Yeah,
your
yeah,
country, go somewhere else to study, or even just live?
yeah. Basically, not just Ghanaians. I think most West Africans. It's common when you're growing up, especially if you're from like a middle income or a lower income. The idea is like you need to do something better, especially if you want to like achieve something
Mm-hmm.
of a higher. It's much more harder trying to achieve it back home than to achieve it abroad. So most of us, we have it premeditated. Like, I need to get out of this system and try to go make it somewhere else. Or if I go out, if I work in America, if I hustle, I can get dollars, I bring it back home,
Yeah.
get more money, all of these things. And so it's really like a common thing for us to get out of our comfort zone to go hustle somewhere.
So, being though that it's common for you to get out your comfort zone, what did you face with any like challenges when you first like left? Like, what was your thought process when you was leaving? Also, like, how did your family like take? Was your family excited? Like, yo, get out, go, 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 go.
Okay, so I remember like when I got the scholarship, I needed to still fit some bills, and
Mm-hmm.
I asked a few of my friends. Some of them chipped in. They gave me money. My oldest brother really helped me a lot because whatever I had, I gave it to him. And I remember one of my family members was like, "Oh, why are you even doing this? What shows that you have the scholarship? You're gonna get the visa." Like it was more detrimental, like trying to like discourage me.
Okay.
But I already like had my mind premeditated. Like I told you, I had friends that have done it before. So I wanted to really do it. Like my mind was set. I remember I had to like sell my phone to make up the amount, like, for flight and money that you're going to put in yourself, especially when you arrive in China.
Yeah.
The earlier part. So I was much more premeditated. So one of the challenges was like, I didn't have to listen to some family members. And most of my family members were really supportive. Like my older brother, he was really, really supportive. And actually he paid for my flight and also gave me some money to come. So for them, in their mind, it's more like we're trying to push you to get to a place of success. Okay, you're going to school.
Yeah.
So let's support you. That's the mindset. Let's support you. You're gonna go do your masters. If it's up to my family, they want me to do my masters, do a PhD, maybe get a second PhD. It's more like school, because that's what we've been taught. It's like that's the only way to success. Okay. If you want to be successful, your dad doesn't have a business, your dad is not the richest man, you have to go to school, get your masters, get your PhD, get a good job, and then you can be successful.
Okay.
So I was trying to walk that same path that I've known since I was a kid, something like that.
Okay, and you said there were some family members or people that was kind of like, what are you doing this for?
Yeah.
And then you was able to block that out.
Yeah. And even leaving, I remember at the airport, the immigration guy asked me, "Why China?" Like, because most of them, they think like if you're trying to leave to try and find a better life, you have to go to America, Canada, and why China? But for me, because I knew somebody that was here already, I didn't really feel some type of way. I was like really confident and I was hopeful of what I was going to achieve here because I had somebody that was already in the system.
Nice. All right, cool. So now you get over here, you in China as a student. Mm-hmm. Okay, take us through what was that like? What were some of the things you went through mentally? So I know in the beginning you said that you really wanted to make sure you got that the highest level, right? So that you can put yourself in a position to qualify.
Yeah.
So what were some of the challenges that happened when you first got here? Were there any cultural shock? Take us through that experience when you first get to China.
Okay, so when I got to China, I remember I arrived late at night and there was a car there to pick us. Like I knew somebody, so the car came to pick us. I met even like an old friend who was a classmate of mine when I was in primary school. Mm-hmm. She was here already, so I sort of like settled in. And luckily for me, the school that I went to, there were so many Ghanaians. There were like almost 100 Ghanaians. Okay. And on my floor, there were so many people there. So I didn't really feel some type of way in the beginning. But also, so when you come, these people are just going to lecture you like, hey, you can do this to get some money. Because, we are, basically, it's illegal to work because we are students. And they're just going to give you some trips. How do you call it? Tricks and tips.
Yeah, tricks or hacks or something like that.
Some hacks to finesse the system. Yeah. So that if you can get some little money or all of those things. So I got really in a good space when it comes to that aspect. But I also realized that I needed to, if I wanted to achieve the dream or whatever I really want, I needed to move away from that because that was really too comfortable. It means I wouldn't be able to learn the language. It means I wouldn't be able to know the culture here. So from the onset, I think I stayed on campus for only 3 months and I moved out. I moved out to a Chinese neighborhood. And that's when I started to really learn the language, learn the culture. And one of the biggest cultural shock I got was faith. I realized coming from Ghana, we are really religious. My mom, she would wake us up every dawn, maybe 4 a.m. You have to pray that your life, pray for evil spirits, all of those things. Yeah. But when I got here, it was really different. Even on Sunday, there are no churches open. So initially I was really struggling with that. Oh, Sunday I can't go to church. Nobody's talking about God here. If if I talk to my Chinese friends, they all talk about money, the God of
Yeah.
money, and all of those things. So I think I struggled with faith in the beginning until after a while I realized like, oh, okay, so if I want to still keep up my faith, then I need to do things personally, like individually. I have to start
Yeah.
internalizing my faith and trying to like worship alone or trying to like probably worship online. And so that was it from the beginning. And secondly, I think the food. I was
Yeah.
struggling a lot because most Chinese foods are oily and stuff. And actually, Ghanaian foods are like really calorie dense. But over time, I really sought to like balance it out. So it was good. That was good.
Right. So I want to go back to something you talked about. So how did you have that discernment to know that if you stayed on campus within those 3 months that like you wasn't going to be able to maximize your success?
So one thing about me is like usually when I'm in a place, I watch my environment a lot.
Mm.
So when I got on campus, I was watching people that were like 2 3 years ahead of me, and most of them sometimes you ask them something they can't even say it in Chinese. So I keep thinking like my cousin, he could speak Chinese, he could read and write, but he's like one of those smart people.
Mm.
So and I didn't really. He was doing his PhD at that time, so we're on separate campuses. So I always wondered how he was able to speak it, and he used to tell me like you need to get out because he when he came here he was playing football, he was doing so many sports activities, so he sort of like mingled with the locals a lot.
Yeah.
So he sort of like gave me the idea like if you actually want to learn, you need to get out, you need to make Chinese friends, you need to like be in a situation where you don't have to rely on your app or your phone or those things. So when I looked around, I realized that apart from him, only few people could speak. Most of them could not really speak Chinese. They would still have to use the translator and stuff. So I was like, nah, if I actually want to do this, I need to move out.
Okay.
And that made me sort of like move out. And I was in Chengdu. And one thing about the Chengdu Chinese people is they are so friendly.
Yeah.
So luckily for me, I was able to make some really good Chinese friends. And they helped me a lot. You'll come take you out for dinner,
Yeah.
teach you some Chinese words, take you around. So it sort of like helped me a lot in trying to like survive without foreign assistance in China. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. So just guys, just so you understand, like that just shows you like how important it is sometimes to really like just get away from your comfort zone. And sometimes getting away from your comfort zone is not only like leaving your country. It's about the people you hang around, hanging around other people. Because like you know how they say like the people that you hang around, that's who's going to determine like your life and how your life go. So if you hang around a lot of people that's all they do is, you know, playing video games, playing sports, out drinking, that's probably how your life is going to be. If you get around a lot of people that's talking about business, traveling, that's probably how your life is going to be. All right, so now you've been in China, you finished through school, right? You graduate, you get your bachelor. You get your bachelor's.
Yeah, masters.
You get your master's.
Yeah.
All right, and now what happened after that? So why you didn't go back home after you got your master's?
So basically, it's more like after my masters, I have to do PhD. And I remember I was watching a video, and there's this speaker. I cannot really remember the name of the person, but the person was saying something like, "There are so many ways to success." Like he said, it like there are so many ways of killing a cat, and he was yeah. There's so many ways of killing a cat, which means that most of you think like if you have to go to school, you have to do your masters, you have to do your PhD, you have to do this, da da da. That's the only way you can achieve it. But there are some people, or some of the richest people, even quit school.
Mm-hmm.
So whilst I was watching that, it sort of like really dawned on me, and I was like, okay, I finished my bachelor's.
Mm-hmm.
I came to China. I have no work experience. I finished my master's. I'm going to do PhD. Like, I have nothing like monetarily to really show for it.
Mm.
It's like I'm just in a system where I'm going to school, and so I need to like do something. So what I did was when I was in my final year in my master's program, I went to get this visa type, like it's a type of visa that allows you to work 8 hours.
Okay.
So I wanted to have like an experience of working to see how the system is. So I got that visa. It allows you to work for 8 hours in a week.
Mm-hmm.
I got it, and then I got a basketball coaching job.
Okay.
So when this was a new company in Chengdu at that time, and I remember like they brought some people from Shanghai to come teach us how to coach the Chinese kids, like, because every culture is different,
Yeah.
and maybe you can really be good at coaching, but when you come to China, they have their own system. So they brought coaches from Shanghai, and I remember there was this guy that came from Rwanda. His name was Kefa. And I just looked at him. I looked at his demeanor. I looked at the way he was. I was like, nah, like, I want to be like that.
Mm.
So I just made the decision, like, I want to be like that. So I just went up to him. I spoke to him. He was really down to earth. And he gave me his contact. So he gave me his contact. He comes to train us, and then he goes back to Shanghai.
Yeah.
So I started asking him questions like, hey, bro, how is the job here? How much are you earning? Or how do I get a job like this? And I remember he told me like, oh, you need a coaching license, you need this, you need that. So the certificates that he was telling me that I need to get a job, I started even getting those certificates while I was in school. And I remember he told me about you need a USA basketball license. And he told me how he did his. So he showed me, I went online, registered for the program. They were going to come to Chengdu at that time to train. Luckily that summer, so I joined to get a USA basketball coaching certificate. So I did all of this. I remember I did all of this. I was trying to get a certificate. I need a police report. I had to contact home, get a something like an FBI report.
Yeah. Background check.
So Kefa sort of like guided me from the path of being a student to being a worker. He gave me the documents, like the things that I would need. And the company that I was working with was like, oh, okay, when you finish school, you can come work for us at that time. So I was like, okay, I was getting all these documents. And I remember 3 months before I was finishing school, I told them like, hey, I have the documents. So they gave me like a probationary contract. At that time. They're like, okay, so if you do this, after 3 months, your salary is going to go, let's say we're going to give you 12K. After 3 months, your salary is going to go to 15K. And then you can work for us. We're going to get you a work visa, everything. So 2 months down working for them, they come back and they're like, we said we're going to do your work visa, but the government doesn't allow us to do a work visa for you. That's what they told me.
Yeah.
But from sources, I found out later that they had found some white guys from Serbia that they really wanted. So they sort of like gave our position to them.
Yeah.
And so I was left with not being able to I had my documents, but I didn't have a job.
All right, real quick, let's slow down. You said a lot there, and I just want to make sure y'all catch some gems that just was said before he get into this next.
Yeah.
Before you continue with the story, one of the first things you said was an amazing gem. Was like you saw some guy, like it's almost like you saw some guy, and you're like, damn, I want to kind of be where he at.
Yeah.
And again, it goes back into like you got to get around people who doing better than you, right? So then, and it shows how you was proactive to go introduce yourself and then network.
Yeah.
So like we gotta had the confidence enough to talk to people, to interact with people, to let people know we need help.
Yeah.
And I think a lot of times that sometimes as men, like we never reach out to people. We don't never look for mentorship, or we never just say like, yo, I need help. Like, how did you do that? Can you teach me?
Yeah. Yeah.
And so I just think that's important. And I hope you guys really, understand how important it is to just talk to people, ask questions, build relationships with people who are doing better than you so that you can do that. Then the next thing you said, even while you was in college and you already had this goal of like, I need to make sure I'm at the top of the list, like college. But at the same time, his name is
Kefa.
Kefa was like, yo, you need this. And you started being proactive and going after those certificates so that you can have those things in prepared time when you get there. So just wanted to make sure the audience caught that. And then, so you do all of this work. They tell you you're gonna have a job once you finish school. So I know you're excited. You're like, damn, okay, I'm gonna have some income coming in. I got a job that I really like to do. And then now you get there, it's time to go, and then they don't give it to you.
Yeah. So they don't give it to me. And they said there's no job available for me. So if I'm still going to work for them, I have to work part-time. But this time I was like, no. I just said no. Because I remember, like, I don't know, most Ghanaians or most Africans that work in China, like, from that time, now I don't really have that feeling anymore. But at that time, that feeling was so strong. that like you'll be discriminated from getting a job, or you feel like the job that you're doing doesn't match the skill that you have.
Yeah.
So for example, this company that I'm talking about, I helped them build. Like literally, I was one of the first people that was there, and I've built with them first year, second year, third year. Now that I'm supposed to like earn a working visa, they tell me like, oh no, we cannot do for you, but technically they're just gonna go get somebody else. So I felt some type of way. I felt like you're not gonna treat me like this. So I think at that time it was pride, and it made me say no. I quit. And I remember like when I quit, I heard a voice like, China is so big, you definitely find something. I had this thing, and I remember like I was with some other coaches. I showed them the same thing. I was like, China is so big, you're gonna find. So what was in my head, the voice that I heard, I told my friends at that time, like, China is so big, do not be afraid to lose this job. You're gonna find something. And some of them were scared. They didn't really believe. Some also were like, oh, like, take it. So what I did was I started talking to people. I spoke to Kefa. He gave me some contacts. Oh, these people have a job here. They have this here. So I started like sending out CVs. So I remember that there was this friend of mine. We played college basketball together. We came to China together. But the moment we came to China, we came to Chengdu together. He was like, I'm not going to go to school. And he just left Chengdu. So I didn't know what he was doing. But so I was scrolling on WeChat and I saw his video. And he was coaching basketball. And he was in Shenzhen. So I messaged and I was like, hey, you're in Shenzhen. How is the coaching life there? Blah, blah, blah. And then I told him my situation. I was like, oh, leave them. Come to Shenzhen. I have a job for you. That's what he told me. Leave them. Come to Shenzhen. I have a job for you. There's a job for you. There's so many jobs here. Blah, blah, blah. So I remember at that time I had saved up like 30K.
30K renminbi?
Renminbi.
Okay.
So I packed up everything that I had in Chengdu. Literally everything. And imagine this time I was still a student. But because in the master's degree, all I had to do was do my thesis. So I'm just waiting to defend my thesis and get a attestation letter that I'm no more a student. But I also need to look for the next step. So what I did was I just packed up everything, shipped them straight to Shenzhen, shipped them to his place. And I remember when I came to Shenzhen, I used the money that I had already saved to rent a place. First, I rented a place. I met this friend. We spoke. And then I was like, oh, like, where's the job?
Where's the job?
And he was like, don't worry, you're going to get one. And I was like, yo. So I was pissed. I was like, you could have told me, then I would know if I want this or not. But now you bring me here. You say you have a job for me. I get here. I've used my money. I've rented. I've brought all my stuff here. You're like, oh, you're going to get a job. So
slow down. Because I really want you to take us through this. So
yeah.
You in Chengdu, you meet another friend, and he says, like, you're telling me the situation, like, yo, I got this skills, I want to coach basketball. They told me they had a job for me, they didn't give it to me. And he's like, yo, just come down to Shenzhen, I got you, basically. Yeah, like, I got some jobs for you, there's many jobs for you, I got you. You say, all right, you pack up everything that you got, and you move to a whole nother city. That's like, actually, it's not even a whole nother city. That's like moving to a whole nother state for you guys. So that's basically like moving from, I guess, Philly to Miami or something like that. So it's basically like, yo, I'm in Philly. Somebody say, I got a job for you in Miami. Just move down here. And you move to a more expensive city because Shenzhen is more expensive. So then he moved to Shenzhen, and then you get there, and then he like, yo, like, it's gonna come, and you didn't have no job. So like, how did you? I know you said you was pissed, but like, what thoughts was going through your head? What emotions was going through?
So I was a little bit mad, but one thing that kept me going was like, usually I'll wake up because I lived with him. We rented a place together. I'll wake up and I see him go to work. So I was like, okay, he's African. He's like me. He has a job. So I'm going to get one. Like that was in my mind. Like, I'm going to get one. I mean, like, so he invited me into groups. I think my first week in Shenzhen, I got a part-time gig. I remember I got this part-time. Somebody posted in a group, part-time job, blah, blah, blah. So I went to do the job. On my way coming, another person also posted in a group like, hey, we're looking for a full-time coach, blah, 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 if you're interested. So I just added the person. And then when I added the person, a friend that I was living with was like, oh, I know this person. So he spoke to her like, oh, my friend is applying for this, blah, blah, blah. And then I sort of like applied for the job. So she was like, okay, come to our office and come for an interview. I went to the office. I remember it was in Nanshan. I went to the office. They met me. We just clicked. I just knew the job was for me. So when I went there, we clicked. She said, okay, can you do this? I showed her some videos because I had videos from Chindu. I showed her so many videos of me coaching. So she knew like I'd done this before. Mm-hmm. And then we started to talk. I asked them, can you do a visa for me? They're like, yeah, we have somebody that can actually do it. But I remember at that time they said the person that would do the visa was going to charge, how much was it? 7,500 RMB.
Okay.
But no, first they said the person was going to charge 15K and the company is going to take half of it. So I need to pay the 7,500. Okay. So I need to pay 7,500. So I spoke to them like, hey, like I just got here. I've done this, I've done that. So can you do the visa for me? And then you just take it from my salary. So it means I'm going to work for you. You get a visa. And then when it's time to pay me, you just take it. Yeah. So they were so lenient. They took it within 3 months, which was like 2,500, 2,500, 2,500. Wow. And I remember that I applied. So I came to Shenzhen in July or August. I remember I came to Shenzhen in July, August. I got the job within 2 weeks. I got that job, and my visa was ready in October.
Nice. All right. Okay. Something else just happened here, and I just want to something powerful just happened. So I remember you just was talking. You said that when you was in Chengdu and that job was like, oh, sorry, we can't get your visa, right? And then you was like, but then you said a voice was in your head, and it was like, yo, China is big. Like, you'll find something.
Yeah.
And it was kind of telling you, like, giving you confirmation and telling you, like, yo, you be good.
Yeah.
Then you look on WeChat, you see this friend, and you see him working, another African working, and you like, yo, like, how can I do that? He just like, yo, come down.
Yeah.
It's jobs here. Even though he said that, so he's like, it's jobs here. So you go down here, you get here, and then you won't. But then within 2 weeks, you get a job.
Yeah.
And then not even that, you was even talking about how like you had to pay for a visa, but then this company was like, all right, they agreed what you asked for, but then they said, hey, we'll take out 250 here, 250 here.
Yeah.
And just remind me how like sometimes when like God is speaking to you and he's telling you to move, and it's really hitting home for me right now, but he's telling you to move, you got to move in this trust and have that faith that like he's going to provide provision. Yeah. Cause that's what just happened right here. Like he just provided like provision for you. Like, all right, Daniel, you just need to just get out and go. All right, you go, stick with it. And then boom, an opportunity come. And then even you like, damn, I'm not even gonna be able to pay for this. And you're like, don't worry.
Yeah.
I got you. Yeah. So guys, when you hear those voices, that inner voice, when God is speaking to you, it's just so important for you to listen and have faith, even though like you're not sure exactly how it's gonna work out. You just gotta do your part and it will work out. So I just want to mention that.
Yeah.
Nice thing. All right. So so now you're in China, you get a coaching job, and now I know that you eventually, you got out of coaching, you became a PE teacher, and then you've been working in China for how many years?
Since 2019, I've been working till now, so almost 5 years, 6 years.
Wow. Yes. So then you then you get into teaching.
Yeah.
So was that a difficult transition to get into?
Really, really difficult.
Okay. All right.
Really difficult.
So real quick. So just quickly share with us, like, what challenges you faced transitioning from a coach to a full-time PE teacher, and actually, why did you want to go from a coach to a full-time PE teacher?
Okay. So I remember that when I started coaching, I met this other friend called Boyan. Boyan he was coaching with me. He's from Serbia. So I met Boyan one time and he was like, oh, I used to be a PE teacher. And that job was really easy. And I used to get holidays. I used to get days. And I think we were talking about insurance. Because I remember like this company, they weren't paying us, they weren't buying insurance for us. And I was like, to me, it doesn't seem right. Like I work as a coach. Literally, I'm putting my body on the line, coaching these kids. So there's no way this makes sense that I work as I work in sports and I don't have insurance. And I remember like I got hurt one time. I went to Vista and just consultation and stuff. I paid a lot of money.
Yeah.
So I told myself that my next job I have to have insurance. So I was talking to Boyan about this, and he was like, "Oh, I used to be a PE teacher, and I used to have all of that." But he said he went home, came back, he lost the job, and then now he's doing this. So the moment he told me that, I was like, "Okay, I need to get a PE teacher job." Like that was the only thing in my mind. I need to get a PE teacher job. And I started looking. So you know how China is like groups and stuff. I just started looking, and I wasn't really ready to quit my job because when I started looking, one thing I found out was like you need 2 years experience of teaching, and I didn't have that yet from my company. And imagine I started working in October, so let's say July 2018. So by February 2019, COVID came. Yeah, COVID came. So basically, I've just been working full time for only 6 months, and now there's COVID. Every place is shut down. There's lockdown. All of those things. So from the 2019 to 2020, I was still like trying to finesse the whole situation. I need 2 years, so I have to actually get 2 years first, which means that I can only get a job in PE in 2021 or 2020. Yeah, this was the ideal way. So I just kept working at my place. But when COVID came, I remember my company, they really hit it hard. They weren't getting as many students as before. The boss started paying us late. You know, the boss started paying us late. It was a whole thing. So I kind of like saw the future. I was like, nah, I don't want to be here for long. So I remember I spoke to another Nigerian friend, and he told me he has a gig for me, which is sort of like illegal.
Yeah.
But at that time I needed the money, so I had it to like. He was like, "I have a gig for you. If only you can do it, you're gonna get like 25K." I remember at that time he said you're gonna get 25K, and I was earning 16K.
And so you never stop hustling. Like you still gotta like have that hustler in you.
Yeah.
In this journey, like especially like you leave your hometown, you're in a new country. Like a lot of things, nothing's ever going to be perfect, and it's not going to be smooth. And we're just not here to lie to you and tell you it is. Because even in my experience, like I had those experiences where like I started coaching American football again on the side. I started selling different products on the side. Like you just always still gotta have that hustle in you to keep on going. You can't just like wait. You always got to be like active and then willing to move. Yes, and yeah, just give you some backstory. Like I said, like I knew Kiru for I guess since 2020 now, or something like that,
2020
or whatever. So go ahead. Now you was just talking about how you transitioned from coaching into teaching, or how you went through some struggles with getting a job.
Yeah.
All right, go ahead.
So basically, I'm a coach now, but I'm looking for a PE job. So what I do is I go out, anybody that I see, I talk to the person. I try to like network a little bit. So I remember there was a birthday party, and that's where I met you.
Yeah.
And I remember telling you like, oh, I'm looking for a PE job. And then you said you were teaching PE. And then I remember you telling me like how I should even make my CV at that time, because like my CV was so messed up. And I took all of that advice. And I remember like, I was just, so on the right, it wasn't just you. I was talking to so many people also in PE and stuff, trying to like just get myself out there. So I remember giving you my CV afterwards, and I had even like forgotten about it. And the PE wasn't coming. The PE job wasn't coming, to be honest. It wasn't coming. So, and I wanted to leave my company. So I spoke to another friend of mine that I played basketball with. I've missed his name a little bit, but he was also from America. He worked with a basketball company called 5 Star. And I told him like, hey, I'm looking for a job. But his company was doing much better than my company. And this friend Boyan was working for his company now. So I spoke to Boyan. Boyan said, oh, speak to him. Benny. I remember his name is Benny. So I spoke to Benny. Benny was like, okay, you can come to our place. Let's talk. So I went for interview with 5 Star. And what I remember was after the interview, so this is a phase where I've already left my coaching job. I'm working for this new hustling joint. But this new hustling joint, the government is now cracking on people. So I don't really, I already know like I'm going to be in danger any minute.
It's only a matter of time.
Yeah. So I'm looking for something that's much more safe. And at that time, I was like, okay, if I cannot get P now, let me just go back to basketball, which is like this new company. So I spoke to Benny. I remember I went there, he described the job to me, and he was like, they have 1 day off. But he described the whole condition. I even spoke about insurance. He said they gave insurance, they gave everything. So to me, this looks perfect. So I'm debating on the train. I'm coming on. I'm like, so all I remember was I have to go back, dig deep, and go back to God. Because like I said, my childhood it's all been God. My mom was like in the ministry. She was a deaconess. So in my moment of like really struggles, I really dig deep and go back to Him. Though I've not been, I've been a bad person, but I remember on the train I was telling God like, is this for me? Is this for me? And that's the only thing I kept saying. If is this for me? If it's for me, because when I went, everything went well. Everything went well, just like the way my first job went. So he gives me the contract. I said, I'm going to go read it, and I'll give you a reply on Monday. This was on a Friday. So I read the contract. It wasn't the best. Like, it wasn't really what I was targeting, because the salary was like 18K. Even the hustle that I was doing was 25K. But they kept telling like, you can earn more if you do more classes, and also we have 1 day off. And that didn't sit right with me. I was like, if because I always have a plan of being free. All of this leads to me creating my brand.
Yes.
So I have this idea of being free to be able to do my own thing, because if I'm working for somebody all the time, then I don't have time to. So I wasn't cool with the 1 day off. The salary wasn't really. So I was like, I'm in this way where I'm boxed in. I don't have a choice, but this is the only option on the table. So it was Friday. The Saturday, I went for a job fair. Many international schools came. I gave them my CVs, all of that. I even took some HR's WeChat and contact and stuff. So after the job fair, I go to the gym. I was deadlifting, and then I just felt a sharp pain in my back. Boom. So I'm supposed to give Benny a reply on Monday. But now my back is hurt. So even if I take this job, I cannot do it. Like, I was bedridden for like days. I was bedridden for this. So me being me, I didn't even reply Benny at all. Like, I don't want to tell him no or tell him I'm hurt, and then the company decide, okay, if you're hurt, then we cannot give you a contract. So I didn't really want to jinx it. So I just went silent. I went silent for like a week. And when I started getting better, the Monday that I was going to message Benny, somebody added me on WeChat. Like, somebody added me on WeChat. I answered, and he's like, are you Daniel? I said, yes. And then she said, I work in VMA, blah, 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 school. We would like for you to come and do a demo. I was like, I looked at it, I looked at the message like this. And at that time, I wasn't really healed, but I was like, okay, yeah. I just messaged, yeah, I started like watching videos on YouTube about like demos, and I went on there, because for me, like, one thing that like I've also really felt or studied about myself in China is like, most of the time when I apply for a job and the job goes like, okay, come to our office, let's meet you. Like, I know 90% I'm going to get a job. But if it's more like you send your CV, they just look, because you're African, I'm not supposed to be here. Like, you don't meet the requirements. You don't meet it. So when she said let's meet, I was like, bet. I went for the thing. It went well. They told me they were going to get back to me. Then they gave me a form for me to fill. I had to fill what I was earning before. And actually, like, this is it though. Like, my aim is like, okay, I need to get at least 22K, 23K. This is like, this is in my head. Like, this is the amount of money. This is the dream, that this is what I need to get. I need to get insurance. I need to get 2 days off, all of this. And they sent me the contract. I remember they sent me a contract. I just looked at it, and the money was like 28K. I was like, damn. I was like, yo, this is way more than I asked for, This is way, 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 way more than I asked for. And it had like insurance, and it had like housing allowance. Like, this was the premium package, I just looked at it. I didn't even think So the funny thing, when I saw the money, I didn't even read the contract. I just signed it. I am somebody that will read contracts all the time because I grew up or I heard stories of people really getting messed up. But when I saw the money, I was like, I'm gonna do whatever it takes. Like I don't mind. I'm just gonna do this and get this job. So I signed the contract. First of all, I signed the contract, and I think I was also fortunate with the person that was doing my visa process, which was Samantha at that time.
Yeah.
She really helped me a lot, and I got the visa, and I started working in this school from I think February 2021. Yeah.
Wow. Okay. So look, guys, this is my first time actually hearing the other side of that story about that you had the you interviewed for the other job, and you was about to think about signing a contract and let them know, and then you hurt your back. I did not know that happened before you you started working at a school, got the job, whatever. So wow, that's amazing. Funny thing is, I had a similar experience about the money thing. So when I first was working, I was at this public school and I was getting paid like $17K, like $17.50, something like that. And I remember when I went to go interview for Mesa or at VMA, I'm in there, I'm interviewing. I pull up there, it's raining. I'm like, oh my God, I'm not gonna be able to do the demo.
Yeah.
They're gonna make me come back. And it's far. I lived all the way by the airport in Bawan.
Oh, that's far.
So I'm like, so I get in there and then we in the lobby, the lobby and the VMA lobby. I interviewed in there. They just was like, how would you teach? I'm like, I just start in there talking. I would do this and do this. I start using the wall, the beam. So I'm telling them everything. We talking, like killing the interview, straight killing it. The HR was what's her name? It was not Samantha at the time. I cannot think of the HR name at this time. Anyway, this is like early 2019. She was like, oh, they really like you. And then she told me a number. She was like, yeah, like, the minimum you're gonna get is like 32, right? Would that be okay with you? And inside my body is like, what? Like, what? So, but I gotta keep it cool.
Yeah.
I just was like, yeah, I'll look at the contract. I'll let you guys know on Monday. Bro, when I left the school, she was like, we're gonna send you an offer over. And I was like, yeah, I got this too. She was like, yeah, this is the minimum you're gonna get is this. I said,
oh my God, yeah.
I said, what? Bro, I never went back like so soon. As soon as they sent me that contract, I did read the contract though. But I read over it, like, let me see what they in there, because I was trying to make sure like I maximized the time. I'm like, all right, dang. And I remember I had to go back. I had to go to my other job and tell them I gotta leave. I said, and I just re-signed my contract to them. I'm like, yeah, I can't come. And then the lady was like asking me like, why? She was like, oh. Then I just told her. I told her how much they was paying me. She said, you better leave. Like, it's like, it's a Chinese lady. She said, yeah, I believe too, because we can't pay that much. So I just know that feeling when you like,
yeah.
Oh, and it's just another lesson how you just said, like, you tied back in, you went back into your faith. I think sometimes, a lot of times we, when we struggling, that's when we kind of like rely on God. That's when we kind of start, reaching out or asking for him and things like that. And it's funny how like, God is so loving and so forgiving that like when we return, like he always there. Right. So he was able to, get that job and things like that. But just want to, point out that it's just important that even when we get those jobs that we still just like, give God all the glory.
Yeah.
Cause like he's always working for it. That's what when you were just talking, and you was talking about how you thought about the contract. Do I want to sign this contract? It didn't sit right with you. And then you hurt your back.
Yeah.
Like, and you think that something happened to you. Sometimes things happen to us. And we think like, oh, why now? Now I can't even get this job. And we don't realize that like things is happening for us. Like everything is happening for us because you might have signed that contract already.
Yeah.
Then you might have had to work and not be able to do the interview on that day. Like so many things could have took place.
Yeah, for sure.
So just always understand that God is always working for you. So before we get into your next transition, I just want to go into to say like, so at what one of these times do you think you really had to like rely on faith the most? Which one of these experiences? Or tell us about that.
I think the part where I had to rely on my faith the most was transitioning to PE, because that was an uphill battle. Like I remember I interviewed with a school and everything was going on well. But the moment they realized I had a coaching visa, the lady was like, no, we cannot do the visa for you. But then I already spoken to people that have done it before. Rarely, but it was possible. Like I've had people that had done it before, and even those people, each of them did it a different way. Some of them had to like cancel their whole visa stuff, redo it again. Some were able to really transfer. That's why, like I said, Samantha was really good because I didn't have to cancel and redo everything. She just wrote a note and I was able to transfer.
Okay.
So actually even landing a job was so hard because I would do interviews. I remember there was another Wanku school. One of my friends from Ukraine was working there, and he wanted to. One of his friends was leaving, so he linked me. So this is like the same thing like what you did. It was direct. And the moment they saw that I was black, the HR told him like, no, we don't want any black person.
Yeah.
So like I was facing so many obstacles trying to find a PE job. That's why I was saying like I even thought of going back to basketball at that time because I thought it was impossible, you know. But I wanted it so bad. I remember I did like over 10 interviews and all of them I just kept hearing no. I even went for job fairs, all of those things. So in this moment I just kept relying on my faith, like, because for me, another thing that I've realized, like when it comes to job and those things, if it's for me, I don't really struggle. Like if it's for me, it's just I just go, the vibe clicks, and then it's done. But anytime I was interviewing and I kept hearing the negative stuff, then the voice would tell, this is not the one. This is not the one. Like so like with years, like I'm saying, the lady messaged me on Monday. I went for a demo on Wednesday. Friday I got a contract. Like it was bang, bang, bang like that. So sometimes you just have to like dig in and just hope that you're going to get, because I kept hearing no. And the funny thing is the moment I signed the VMA contract, I had a couple of companies also message me back like, hey, we want you. But then I'd already signed this contract already. Yeah. So that was it.
Nice, man. It's nice. Amazing how things just work out. Like, and I think it's important to understand that, like what's meant for you is meant for you. Like if God have a plan for you, if it's inside you, it's for you. There's nothing could stop it.
Yeah.
But you just gotta do your part. All right. So really quick, now let's get into traveling. So now I know you got these brands. Tell us about your traveling brand. Why you created your traveling brand.
So I've always been a curious person. That's with me. And when I came to China, I had tried so many businesses. Like I've tried buying and selling, wholesale stuff, all of those things. Some work, some don't work. Some work for a while. Even shoes, sneakers. Some work for a while, then until it doesn't. Because I had a really good partnership with one of my friends in Chengdu. We're doing shoes, and then COVID came, and then we couldn't do it anymore. So some has been successful, some have not. So I just started looking within, like, okay, fine. Now I've reached where I wanted to be. So now I need to, what do I do for myself? And I was thinking through, and everything that kept coming to me was like, you're doing all of these things because you want to be free. You want to be financially free. You want to be free of poverty. You want to be free of like burdens, all of those things. So you're doing all of this to achieve freedom. So it came to me like, okay, freedom. And I'm somebody that really likes social media a lot. I've been in social media for a long time. I like a lot of things about social media. So I was like, okay, I can try this aspect of being in social media. And so I was trying to, like, in that moment, I was trying to look for something. Like, these are just ideas. It's just far away. These are just like ideas so far away. And but what started was, I'll have friends. They'll be like, "Oh, this weekend we're going here. You want to come?" And I'll be like, "Okay, bet." So I'll go with them, and I realize like the whole time I'm the only one taking videos. Like I'm the only one taking videos, recording people, taking photos, and you have people afterwards. People will be like, "Oh, send me the video, send me this." So I'll send them the video. I'll also create a video. I'll post it, and I started getting like really good reactions about them. You know, so one night I was there. I was like, okay, now I remember I took a paper. What do I like? So yeah, what do I like? I wrote lifestyle, traveling, fitness. These are the three things that I like. And and I remember I was telling myself, like, even if I wasn't getting paid, I'll still be doing these things. If I'm not getting paid, I'll still be traveling. I love the lifestyle, but I'll still be in fitness. So these are things that are core part of my life. That's it. And then the other aspect was the videos. Okay, you create videos, you post it, now you're getting good reactions. Now, what name are you going to give to it? So first, I remember like when I was in school, our coach would always say, "It's you versus you. It's you versus
Yeah.
you. It's you versus you." So I looked at it, but I always thought like actually it's not. It's you versus you is just like the first layer. It's actually like the free you versus you. The free you as in like you're trying to achieve freedom versus your current you now. So people are like you're in competition with yourself, but actually you're not. It's more like what you're trying to achieve versus who you are now.
Yeah.
That's what you're going against. So it gave me the idea. I was like, oh, this is perfect. So I'm gonna make it the free you versus you. That means you're trying to achieve freedom versus you now. So you're just working towards being free. So that's how the brand came about. I asked one of my friends to make a logo. So I'll just these little trips with my friends, I'll just do it, take the videos, and I'll just post it. And then it started becoming a thing. It started like people started actually reacting to it. People started getting to it, and then I have DMs of people asking me like, "Oh, when are you going to travel? Can I travel with you?" All of those things. So basically, it's more like the way I see it. That it's not fully blown yet, but the way I see it is like even if I'm not trying to make money out of this, I'll still be doing these things.
Yeah.
I'll still be traveling. I'll still be in fitness. So I might as well just give it a try. Why not? I have nothing to lose. That's how my brand came about.
So okay, now real quick, what would you say to somebody who they're thinking about leaving their hometown, country, but they struggling, they got a little bit of doubt. A lot of people's voices in their ears, things like that.
What I would say is that you have to take that leap. To be honest, sometimes we get afraid to take these steps, but what we forget to know that God has already planned all of these things. It's just we believing and then playing our part. These steps, me ending up in China, is like beyond my wildest dream. You know what I mean? Even though I planned it, I wished it, but now looking back and talking about my whole story, so now I realize like it looks actually scripted. Because when it happened once, it's a coincidence. When it happened twice, then it's not. It's like somebody actually has planned this path for me. So if you have doubt, just take a leap of faith. Like believe and just take a step. And one thing is, it's not gonna be easy. Like you're gonna have broken backs. You're gonna have people tell you you're African. You're not gonna be able to make it. You're gonna have people that would like give all the negative noise. But then you realize like even with all those negativity, there's one positive in there, and that one positive is probably yours. You know what I mean? So it's not gonna be hard. It's not gonna be easy. Let me say it's not gonna be easy, but if you're really determined to do it, you're just gonna make it for sure.
Nice. All right, so actually some quick questions before we wrap it up here. You can just say whatever comes to your head. Some might be one word, maybe not.
Okay.
How would you describe your entire journey in one word?
Grace.
Grace. I like that.
Grace.
What's the biggest belief you had to let go of on your journey to grow?
You lose a part of yourself anytime you evolve. You lose a part of yourself anytime you evolve, because I've had to, in order for me to get to this, I've had to leave people behind. And initially, I felt a lot of guilt. I was really, because coming out from Africa, we're always taught that this is your path. We help you get here, you help others move along. We help you get here, you help others move along. It's like a chain where we move in circles. But I also realized that if you dwell too much on this, it becomes a huge burden. Like there were days where I'll be so stressed. I remember like I want to sort out every friend of mine, and I wasn't having any. I wasn't really saving. Like so, I realized that if I wanted to evolve to the next level, some responsibilities I had to let go.
Yeah.
Especially things that didn't really how do you call it, serve me well. Even not even with responsibility, also lifestyle.
Yeah.
Like when I came to China earlier, you see me partying, drinking, all of those things. But when I realized that I wanted to evolve, I had to let go all of this part of me to be able to move to the next level. So if you want to evolve, you're definitely going to lose some part of you, but it's a blessing in disguise. Yeah.
Wow, wow. Okay. I know you said a lot there. So, and then the biggest like lesson that you probably learned?
The biggest lesson that I learned is like you are asking the wrong people if you're not really seeing your work. So, for example, I'll use my journey as an example. That when I was looking for a P job, I was talking to people. Some of them were giving me excuses, or some of them were giving me excuses. Some were saying we cannot do it. But when I got to the right one, it was possible. I didn't have to change anything about myself. I didn't. It was the same person. It was the same interview. So if you hear no, you're probably in the wrong environment. Most of the time, if you have a plan and you're hearing no, you're probably in the wrong environment. When you're in the right environment, you're gonna make it.
Okay, what's one place everybody should visit at least one time? This is the travel king. Which one? You only can choose. If you had to choose one place and say you got to go here, where would you send them?
Jeez, this is so hard. This is so hard because I feel like this is my traveling mantra. What I tell people is anytime I travel to a place, I try to do something very unique in that place. And that was like all the places that I've traveled to, I've been able to find something unique in those places. Except one country so far, which was Bali. Except Bali. When I was in Bali sort of like grows on you. I don't know how it is. I don't like, to be honest, till now I still don't know how it is. So I went to Bali. I was in Ubud.
Yeah.
And crazy story. When I arrived in Bali, the immigration officer took my passport and he didn't give it back to me. So he takes my passport, he searches my luggage over. I don't know whether he thought I was a drug dealer or something. He searches my bag, and I leave the airport to the hotel without my passport. I get to the hotel.
What?
I get to the hotel. They ask for my passport. I don't have it. So now I'm like, did I lose it? So I'm in panic. I arrived in Bali at 1 a.m. So I get to the hotel like 3 a.m. I don't have my passport. The driver takes me back to the airport. I go I don't even know it's with the immigration office. I don't know where it is. So when in the car, I started replaying back the steps that I took, and then I sort of realized like, oh, I realized when I gave it to him, he didn't give it back to me. So I was going to just go and ask. I went there. They gave me, like they said it was there. So finally, I find my passport. So already I don't really have a good start to Bali. So I go to Ubud. I started interacting with the people, and it was, I don't know, it grows on you. I've never felt at peace ever in my life until I went to, I just felt so much peace in Bali. But I kept telling people I'm going to come again. Like I kept telling them I'm going to come here again. But one thing I realized, like, there's nothing really special to do there, but it's like everything that is special. So now so for me now. So for example, when I was in Paris, I'll go to Eiffel Tower. When in Switzerland, I went to the Swiss Alps. When I was in Japan, Tokyo Tower, all of those. There's a single special thing to do there. And in Bali, I didn't find anything special to do there. But now I realize it's because almost everything there is just special. Wow. Especially like it gives you really good peace of mind. The people there are so loving. There's a lot of connection. There's good vibration. Let me just say there's good vibration over there.
I think it's because Bali is a very spiritual place, though. Like it really is. Even though they're, they have different beliefs than we have. Yeah. But it's just something about like the people are nice there, and it's just a lot of prayer going on there. It's interesting. Like, and so I think people should definitely visit Bali too.
Yeah, for sure.
Okay, you're from Ghana. If somebody was visiting Ghana, what food would you recommend them to eat?
Fufu.
Okay, fufu.
Fufu is like my favorite.
Yo, thank you so much for this. But real quick, how can people find you if they want some traveling tips? If they want somebody to shoot their content while they're traveling, like, please let them know how they can find you and where they can find you at.
You can definitely find me on Instagram, TikTok, YouTube, and on X. All of it at the free you versus you. All of it at the free you versus you. That's it.
All right. Hey, guys, thank you so much for joining us for another episode of Uniquely Called. If this story in any way moved you, inspired you, or it's confirmation that it's time for you to make that move, like hit the subscribe button or share this with someone you know who need this.
Okay.
All right.
It's a
Let's go.
wrap.
Yeah. All right. Appreciate you.